It's shaking a little bit. There we go.
I think it's because the Millennium Falcon is coming out in the corner over there. I think Solo is trying to figure out a place to land. I don't know.
The Imperial cruiser, we ain't afraid of no Millennium Falcon. Alright, so we are live for the first time on Facebook, and I'm Deadpool Speaks.
And I'm Movie Geek 98.
And together we are Movie Freaks and Geeks. So today's a very special day. Do you know why it's a special day there, Movie Geek 98?
Because it's the 10th anniversary of Spider-Man 3?
Exactly. Well, actually, today is, if you haven't been on Facebook, if you've crawled out from underneath a rock and have no clue.
Or maybe you just came out of Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, you know, those things happen, then you probably haven't realized that today is May the 4th be with you. Yes, another fantastic way for Disney to make money by incorporating a movie into a national holiday.
And then you just gotta wait another day, and then you have Revenge of the Sixth.
Well, no, first we got Cinco de Mayo, and then the hangover is Revenge of the Sixth. So, first of all,
that new Pixar movie is coming out, Coco, so I think they can market off of that too. Disney's gonna be making a lot this weekend.
Yeah, Disney is a money-making machine. But either way, we're here to talk about Star Wars, even though many of you would love to talk about Spider-Man 3 and what a masterpiece of cinema that is. We're actually going to focus in on Star Wars.
Yeah, just Star Wars in general.
So we're going to start off the discussion, and those of you that weren't able to join us on Facebook Live, you couldn't be part of the discussion. We still want to hear your comments below. Feel free to go ahead and leave a message. I know that one of our friends, Brian, who's a big Star Wars fan, he mentioned on his Facebook, well, why couldn't we just do a Star Wars / Star Trek movie? And suddenly the world turned against him. So,
well, there's a lot of reasons why we can't do that. Number one, the whole film is going to be nothing but lens flares.
Lens flares, just a bunch of lens flares. But, I mean, you know, you can never have too many. Just ask J.J. Abrams. But here's what we're going to discuss. We're going to go ahead and discuss some of these movies. So basically, we're going to start, we're going to do this in order. Let's do this in order, let's be fair. And we're going to start with Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Yes, because you know, it started off with Episode 2. There wasn't any
Episode
1. I mean, no. George Lucas just wanted to go straight into 2. There's no such thing as a 1.
I'll be honest with you. Here's the thing. Okay, Episode 1 could have been 10 minutes long. Okay? You had the opening sequence. You had them getting that pod race thing. And then jump ahead to the final duel with Darth Maul.
The Duel of the Fates, I think they call it.
Duel of the Fates, yes, exactly. And that would be it. That would be Episode 1.
Probably have Liam Neeson let Jar Jar Binks get run over by that droid ship thing,
yeah,
that tank.
And if you don't believe in karma, that film just proves that because he let Jar Jar Binks live, pretty much he died. You know, death is going to take somebody. Might as well let it be the weird Jamaican-sounding creature thing. So, I'm just sorry. Okay, so we're moving into Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones, in my opinion, was a really good movie. I think it set up a lot of good stuff that was to follow. I'm talking about. You know, you talk about Rebels, you talk about
the clones, the whole Fett story.
Exactly.
And we kind of knew a little bit more of Obi-Wan in that one that we did in Episode 1. Because Obi-Wan was more of that little side Padawan guy.
Exactly. And the thing is, I think with Attack of the Clones, everybody kind of had that sour taste in their mouth.
Yeah, because you had your... Well, not only that, but also Episode 2, they kind of have a sour taste as well because of all the romantic, emo Annie.
But here's the thing: we knew that was coming. We knew that this had to happen because it's like you tell a really good story, right? You have to get through the first opening act. You have to introduce the characters. You have to kind of build that momentum, and that's what it is. When you look at Star Wars, and you goodness, we were interrupted.
I guess that was maybe the Emperor calling us, trying to stop our feed.
Yeah, well, you're not gonna stop us.
Well, this is Facebook Live. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I know, including a phone call. So here's what I have to say about that. Basically, I think you have to set up the whole first act. The whole first act is pretty much, the first, I think, 2 episodes. And then you kind of have that middle portion, which we're kind of going through now. And I mean, at the end of the next 3 films, it's like that's where you kind of see where everything is. Now, your favorite parts of Attack of the Clones?
I would say maybe Obi-Wan going to that clone factory, that whole sequence in it by itself, like him being introduced to the clones, even though I'm not in with the whole CGI, computer-generated background everything, and Obi-Wan was the only living thing on that set. It was still cool to see the clones, and then afterwards the battle with him and Jango in the rain.
Yes.
That
was cool. I really like Yoda's
battle with Count Dooku.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was an amazing feat because we've been wanting to see Yoda
in action,
and we were not disappointed. I think that they did it really well, and I think the overall fight was just fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think one good thing is that led us into, Revenge of the Sith. I think that that kind of brought up our hopes a little bit. And unfortunately, they were crushed by an overly whiny Anakin. And I get it. He's going through love. He's doing all these other, things that
he's having that moment in his life, the beautiful moment every teenager goes through.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't understand life and pushes everything away.
It's teenage angst, and at its worst. And the thing is, I think, because if you look at it, I mean, it's a really dark movie.
He killed children.
He killed kids, yeah. And they weren't just any kids, but they were. No, it's not that they were Padawans or anything else. They were cute.
They were little childs.
They were little childs. Yes, that's proper English. So, basically, you had to deal with all that. You had to deal with, that darkness, and then him being turned into a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man at the end. In overall, I think people get a lot of beef with, hating Christensen and stuff like that.
Hating the prequels as a whole.
Oh, man, yes. And that's the thing. I think right from the very beginning, right from, the episode 1, there was just a lot of hate. And that hate didn't leave for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, obviously now we're going to be jumping into the original, or,
Well, before we get into the original, why don't we get into, it was the most recent film, but it's kind of the separation of the two. Rogue One.
Oh, man. I freaking love Rogue One.
That one, now that was it was a dog movie as well, but it was a different kind of dog. There wasn't any little kids killed.
Yeah.
Well, presumably.
Well, but here's the best part about it. And hey, Justin, thanks for joining us. One of the things, and I'll be completely 100% honest with you, one thing that I loved about Rogue One is I knew that it was a suicide mission from the start.
Yeah.
I knew that everybody that was going to get involved, had no place in the future. So I already knew going into this that I don't want to be invested.
We're not going to see Forrest Whitaker again in the Star Wars universe.
Even though Forrest Whitaker, with his amazing portrayal of this guy from Mad Max. Now his costume,
Smoking problem guy.
yeah. Well, overall, I loved Rogue One. I think it was perfect. I think it's what we needed. I think it's what brought a lot of life back into it, because The Force Awakens was great.
Yeah.
The Force Awakens was great.
It was like it was reintroducing fans to the Star Wars universe.
Exactly.
It was like, and it was also bringing in the new generation who probably never grew up with Star Wars. Like, Force Awakens was my first Star Wars in theaters.
Yeah.
You went to go see Revenge of the Sith
without
me.
you. Yes. Okay.
I was
fine.
alive during that time.
And he still holds it against me. Okay. I knew it was going to be dark and stuff like that. Plus, I'm a dad, and I wanted a date night with, Mrs. Deadpool speaks. So we left him at home, and now he still hates me for it. So
hey, I kind of got my revenge with going to Force Awakens.
Yes, and then totally not spoiling it for me.
We had online to spoil that for you.
Yeah, that was awful. Okay, so we got Rogue One. Rogue One, like I told you, awesome movie. It was great because we didn't see any Jedi. We just saw action. We saw the Rebel Alliance at work.
Yeah. It felt like more of a grounded war film. Like, we definitely saw the battlefield, the war aspect of Star Wars.
Exactly. and I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people had complaints about was the CGI. But you know what? I think that we can suspend our disbelief. Being Star Wars fans, we want to be able to say, hey, it's okay. I mean, I'd rather have the CGI
than not have it at all.
Yeah, or get it replaced, and then it's like they're telling us, hey, listen, you are not smart enough to comprehend that this is somebody else who's trying to replace him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Dumbledore effect. But I mean, the fantastic thing about the Harry Potter and the whole Dumbledore thing is that, yes, he passed away, yes, they had to continue, and yes, they did a great job getting someone who looked like him.
Man, bringing in Harry Potter's into a Star Wars conversation.
You know what? It's movie freaks and geeks. All right. So, Rogue One, absolutely one of my favorites. I think it's fantastic. And we're not going to get into the cartoon series. I think the cartoon series is great.
You have Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and then you have Rebels. Even though Clone Wars took place between 2 and 3, and then you had Rebels taking place between 3 and 4. And what's funny is they kind of made it canon now, since they had some of like the Rebel stuff incorporated in Rogue One, which I thought was kind of interesting. I knew it was probably Disney in the back, being like, oh, we're going to bring this all together because that's a Disney-owned thing.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's what I'm telling you. This is why I want you guys to understand what we're doing with this particular kind of explanation of what we like and what we're doing. Because it's not your traditional countdown.
Yeah.
This is basically a review of just how these movies go.
Hey, it's live.
Yeah, exactly. And the cartoon, edit that part out, please. No, and then the cartoons, even though they're great series and they're really well written, and they
Clone Wars was amazing for what it was. I mean, even though it aired on the kids, television network, Cartoon Network, it still had its moments where it was like, whoa. Yeah. That's a little intense there.
And it's good because that's the thing with Star Wars. You always wanted to push the boundaries, And so from there we jump into A New Hope, which I mean, it's perfect because Rogue One literally
went straight into New Hope.
And let me tell you, I cannot stress enough how unbelievably happy I am that they did that. I know a lot of people complained about the missing scroll, on the front and all that other stuff, but I think this is more of an interjection. It's not necessarily. It's like. That's why they call it a Star Wars story.
Yeah, because it's not a part of that main story. It's a little side mission.
It's a side mission. It's when you meet that flashing golden cat that says "Follow me," and it's perfectly okay. That's the whole point. I mean,
it's like that part in the game. It's like you go off from the main story and you save a marriage, referencing Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask.
There you go. And that's what I want you guys to know. It's that even though it's a Star Wars story, it really fed into the mythology of the movies. So, jumping into New Hope, basically, New Hope is again, that whole Act 1.
It was the birth of this whole phenomenon that we're like having a day to celebrate at his whole,
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people complain that it's like Hayden Christian was just a kind of like a whiny Anakin. When Luke, in reality, was a little bit whiny himself in the first movie.
Yeah, the first act, he was like, oh, why can't I leave the farm?
Yeah. It's like, oh, I don't really want to be here. I don't want to clean droids all my life. Oh, I don't really have anything to do. There's no
all two left. Oh, man, that dumb droid.
Why do I gotta do this? I mean, it's really, come on. All right, so a lot of people complain, but they forget how whiny Luke was in the first in New Hope, and talking about that. I mean, it's interesting because you have a lot of weird crap that happens in New Hope, and I think the whole reason why is because George Lucas has gone on record saying, "Well, I didn't expect to make them brother and sister, and he didn't expect to make Darth Vader the father."
Yeah, because that was like his first movie. He didn't know it was gonna be that big. Like, the story goes that he left Hollywood and took like a vacation to Hawaii to avoid all the press and like all the news about Star Wars, probably because he was so scared of what was gonna happen.
Yeah, I think, and remember that Star Wars was the first big science fiction movie that came out like this. That wasn't kind of campy in a sense where, you had like Plan 9 from Outer Space and all these other movies that were the predecessors, that a lot of people were like, that's what science fiction is. It's something campy, and this was actually taken very seriously. And I think that's what made it so good is because of the story. You had a whole bunch of fresh faces. People that they didn't even recognize except for Obi-Wan, which Obi-Wan was a famous actor, but he was a famous actor, in Europe, in Britain. But you know what? I think there's something there where everybody saw in the script, and if you look at it in a strange way, A New Hope is pretty much the foundation for the other movies because they all follow kind of the same pattern, So it's like that whole thing where if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
He stayed with that formula, which he broke it when he did Episode 1.
Yeah, when he went to the prequels.
The prequels. But we already discussed that, so that bridge is dead and burned. But with A New Hope, you had, the whole rebel thing. You had Han Solo kind of doing his own thing.
Yeah, I think he was just doing it for the money.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of showed that. And I loved the back and forth. The banter between him, Leia, and Luke was fantastic. And I think that it wasn't so far out there as far as sci-fi movies go. Because if you think about it, our biggest non-grounding moment was probably in the cantina. Because other than that, I mean, you just had a spaceship, and you just had their, kind of rendezvous in the Death Star and stuff like that.
And then you had that big dog fight at the end in space.
Exactly. So, I mean, there wasn't just what is it, like, kind of like being spoon-fed so much sci-fi. So I think that's what made it really comfortable. And the way it was shot, it was just fantastic. I mean, geez, until recently, the Star Wars ride in Disney followed the same, kind of shooting style and everything. People loved it. I mean, they ate that up for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So they did something right. And then, after they blew up the Death Star, they were coronated, everybody was cheering.
A happy celebration.
Exactly. Then, we wait a couple years, and suddenly we get The Empire Strikes Back.
which is considered by many the greatest Star Wars film.
It is considered by me, all right? Screw the many, me, all right? By me, it's one of the greatest...
This is where we're gonna butt heads, because I'm the New Hope fan, and you're the Empire fan.
I'm the Empire fan. Here's the reason why. Empire has everything that a really good movie should have.
It had a plot twist.
Exactly. We had a tremendous plot twist. We had amazing fights, right? On top of that, not only do we have all that, but one of my favorite parts has to absolutely be, the Cloud City sequence. I think that was beautiful because here's a friend. C-3PO gets destroyed. Han Solo frozen in carbonite. Luke gets his hand cut off.
Anything bad happens to them.
Talk about a frickin' Monday. These people had the worst frickin' Monday, because I bet you anything it was a Monday. That was everybody was getting back to work.
An average Monday at Cloud City.
Exactly. That was the Monday that everybody went back to work, and they were like, damn, I really don't want to be here today. And the freaking shutters didn't go up, so they had to put up a blind. Hey, Cloud City's open. So it, it was a huge mess. And then you had the introduction of Billy D. Williams, Mr. Colt 45. Completely betraying his friends, which I think is fantastic. And like I said, it ends on such a down note. I couldn't imagine walking out of that theater
being happy.
Well, and not only that, but having to wait years
till Return of the Jedi.
Till Return of the Jedi. That's what makes it such a brilliant movie, is because now we can binge watch everything. Now we have the ability to do that. But before, and I mean now the longest they make us wait is usually like 6 months, 7 or 8 months if it's in past production or gets in trouble with TV series and things like that. Even the movies, like the Marvel series.
Yeah, the Marvel series, you just give like 6 months.
Yeah,
7 months, and then we'll have its continuation.
Yep.
While Star Wars, it took years.
And I think that's something that people had to appreciate, because they had plenty of time to sit and think about this film. To sit and think about what everything meant. So here's your main rebels, your main people, and they're all in some kind of terrible situation. And I mean, poor Luke, he lost his favorite hand.
He lost his hand. He discovered that his father is like one of the most baddest guys in the galaxy.
He was totally kissing his sister.
Did he? No, he didn't even know
no, that was later.
That was in Return of the Jedi.
Oh,
Every movie he gets bad news. First, his supposed family gets burned to a crisp in New Hope.
Oh yeah.
Empire. He discovers his father is like the evilest guy on the galaxy,
and
loses his hand. Then Return of the Jedi, he discovers he kissed his sister.
So it's like, wow, talk about his life is a Monday.
And then Force Awakens, his whole crew just betrayed him, and now he's isolated, playing hide and seek.
Yeah,
Luke didn't have an easy life.
He did not.
He did not have a good life.
It's like father, like son, huh? It's just it seemed like it was just, and then he had to burn his father.
That's true.
And I mean, he had to see his father die, which, that's never easy. But
it was probably a Monday for him too.
Yeah, and that happened in Return of the Jedi. So we're waltzing into Return of the Jedi. We get the introduction to Jabba and Jabba's palace, which I think is fantastic. That's he's freaking awesome. I mean,
unless you count the special editions, that was the first introduction.
No.
Yeah, let's avoid.
Let's avoid special editions and remakes and CGI
George Lucas's inserts.
I think he was doing it. I think he thought he was doing a good deed. He's like, I'm going to go back and kind of insert all this stuff that I really wanted to see. And then it's like he went in too deep. You know, it's like, oh my god, and suddenly the whole place is on fire, and he's like, oh shit, and he runs.
He can't handle it. I think one of the funniest things about the special editions was that Jabba, inclusion in New Hope. Because at first there was a deleted scene with I think it was a Jabba guard or something.
No. It was a stand-in. It was a stand-in. It was a guy who was playing Jabba because they didn't have, the digital effects, and he didn't have. So it was this kind of big British guy because
just walking with Han, and then once he did, they added Jabba. But the problem was there was a scene when Han did a spin around Jabba.
Yeah, so they
added him stepping on his tail.
Which what I don't understand is this. It looks so terrible for someone who has so much CG power. It's like you could have fixed it.
It's so funny though.
It is. And that's the problem. And I think this is where I'm just going to kind of interject here and say that the biggest problem with the first three movies is trying to be funny. I think that it tried to cater to the humor where in the first couple movies it came naturally.
Yeah.
I think that the humor was just written and it wasn't.
You had Jar Jar with the slapstick and him stepping and crap and.
Yeah, it was just really bad, and that's the thing. And this is for anybody who's kind of a Rocky Horror fan out there. Remember, Rocky Horror Picture Show was originally kind of written not to be overly campy, and then the guy who made the Rocky Horror Picture Show made a sequel to it. And the sequel, he purposely left these huge spaces in there for people to make fun of the movie.
Yeah.
Which people did naturally to Rocky Horror. Then it felt force-fed. This is that whole thing where I'm telling you that it feels like it's being
there
down your throat
for the sake of being there.
Exactly, and that's what I think the first couple movies really did. And that's why I think that the first couple movies did not go well. But back to Return of the Jedi. So we had Jabba's palace. We had that amazing
the skull at pit scene.
Yes.
Luke doing a crazy jump.
Who knew he became so athletic?
It's all that training, all that Jedi training.
It's all that Jedi training, all that stuff.
All standing handstands with Yoda.
Yeah, the Yoda backpack.
Yoda backpack.
Available at Target. And hit plug, send check. So, and that's the thing. I personally believe that if you were to look at all these movies and say, okay, well, which ones were the best, you'll ultimately say that, these, 6, 7, and 8 were the best. And that The Empire Strikes Back, shut up, is good. Fantastic. It's the best. So, but it's because we did have that final moment. We did have closure. We did have, the death of Vader, the death of the Emperor. Oh, it's spoiler alert.
If you've been hiding under a rock for so many years.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, maybe you had that one fan who finally is getting into Star Wars today. Like, oh, let me join in all the hype. And
yeah, let me
we
watch.
Just spoiled.
Yeah, let me go on TBS and watch 8 hours of stuff.
Is it being shown on TBS?
It's like
I
TBS
thought it was
TNT.
TNT.
Whatever.
TNT are always the ones that show Star Wars.
Same thing. But still, what I think overall is that Return of the Jedi was essentially the finest Act 3 you'll ever have. I think everything was resolved nicely. A lot of people complain about the Ewoks. They're like, oh, the Ewoks were the Jar Jar Binks of back then. But
they weren't that annoying.
They weren't. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think when you look at the indigenous people of this planet, they made sense. I mean,
What's funny, though, is you think about it, the Ewoks served the purpose. Jar Jar had no purpose.
Yeah, Jar Jar
other than maybe, I don't know, giving us amazing memes and something to hate in the Star Wars universe. Jar Jar had no purpose.
Yeah, there's a lot of hatred being fueled there. But
Let's make this a Jar Jar Binks roast.
Yeah, that's. But you see, that's what I'm saying. I personally think that overall, Return of the Jedi was a great movie. I think it really closed, the door on what could have been a perfect trilogy. But then we opened it again, and it wasn't a bad opening.
Yeah, The Force Awakens.
Yes.
It's like how many years apart? Like a good 20, honestly. 20.
It was, and here's the thing. This is the first time that George Lucas said, I'm going to take my hands out of this.
And give it to someone else.
I'm going to give it to someone else. So, and I think this is brilliant. I think that he basically said, you know what, there's so much fan fiction out there. There's so much...
non-canon comics.
Yeah, there's so much fiction written on
Boba
Star
Fett
Wars.
still lives, and Han Solo meeting Indiana Jones, and all that crazy fan side of Star Wars.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the one of, I think it's like the Emperor lives, but in like another body, he's attacking Luke's kids? I think that's another fan fiction.
Well, the thing is, the Star Wars universe took a life of its own.
Yeah.
Between books and everything else, this is how they kept it alive. But with The Force Awakens, it felt right at home. Like when I saw it, and it took me a while to see it. I'll be honest. It took me a while to see it just because life just was really busy. But I was not disappointed. I thought that my reintroduction into the Star Wars world made me really happy. A lot of people said, what is his name? Adam Driver?
Kylo Ren, correct?
Yeah, Kylo Ren.
Yeah, Adam Driver.
A lot of people were really like, oh my god, this guy. This guy.
This guy coming out of Girls, an HBO series.
And well, I mean, and he's had some roles, but I mean, he's just a little awkward looking and stuff like that. But you know what?
I kind of like him for what he is because he's a different kind of villain. I mean, he's
and
not.
That's what I was gonna say.
He's this guy who wants to be Darth Vader so badly. He wants to take that mantle. But he's a whiny teenager. He's going what Anakin went through. He's going through that teenager phase. He's having his little temper tantrums.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's not the whiny teenager. He's the angry teenager.
Yeah, better.
Yeah, because there's other things where they whine and complain and just kind of hang it. But he was destructive. He's the type of person that, yes, he's throwing a temper tantrum, and yes, he's breaking everything in the room.
And people, the stormtroopers will just move right along.
Yeah, because, I mean, the thing is, when you see this kind of character, when you see someone that's so destructive, so much poison running through him, and I mean, especially when, spoiler alert, he kills his dad, I mean, that's
such a moment. Like, have I ever told you the story what happened in the theater when that moment happened?
No, tell me.
So, if you've seen Force Awakens, which figuring everyone has, the scene afterwards when Rey lands on that rebel base and hugs Leia, there was a little girl sitting behind me in the theater, and this girl was dressed up in like a Chewie onesie and everything. I'm guessing she was just getting into Star Wars. And she goes, "So did Han die?" And I'm like, oh no, the waterworks are coming back.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I think, because remember, we were emotionally invested in these characters. This is the difference between Rogue One and the Star Wars universe, right? With Rogue One, we knew
what was going to happen.
We knew what was going to happen.
And at the same time, we didn't know these characters.
Exactly.
We barely had time to know about them and learn their personalities.
We grew up with Han Solo.
We idolized Han Solo. We always claimed he shot first. I mean, he's the rebel scum.
And you know how they say, he's gone too soon? This is what sucks when you come back into the universe and everybody's older. Because you know their time is coming. You know it's going to happen. But the way it happened.
In the way, like, I kind of liked that Kylo did kill him, not being, like, oh, kill Han. No, is because I feel like that was Kylo's push into the dark side. Like, he still had his... Like, you can tell when he looks at Han and they have that moment on the catwalk, you know, you can tell he kind of still has Kylo Ren, like, the old... What was his old name? Did he have another name? I think it was, like, Ben Solo.
Yeah, Ben Solo.
He still had the Ben Solo in him, and then once he just thrusted the lightsaber into Han, that Ben Solo just died.
It was gone.
It was all Kylo Ren.
And then to follow that, when you had the lightsaber battle between
he just
Rey and
completely slaughters Finn.
Don't get me wrong, I love Finn.
I wasn't a big fan of Finn.
No, what I meant, I don't mean I love Finn like I want to, you know, kind of idolize him or anything like that. I love Finn the same way that Southern people say bless his heart. You know, the thing is with Finn is that he's a lost soul. He's pretty much...
He's trying to find his purpose.
He's trying to find his path. So...
And, like, the first 10 minutes of the movie, he kind of annoyed me because, literally, he had no dialogue. It was just him... like...
I think...
Get that guy an inhaler.
But you know what? I think seeing a stormtrooper with anxiety... Because that's what it was.
Yeah.
Seeing the stormtrooper with... And it wasn't
He just witnessed a village just go down, and I think the one who bloodied his helmet was, like, his best friend.
Yeah, it was...
Even though, if you want to consider the fan fiction canon, they claim that the guy who screamed traitor is his best friend. The one who pulled out the... Yes, the famous...
The badass, the badass stormtrooper. The one that didn't miss.
What's funny is because, like I said, there's a fan fiction out there that they were best friends at one point. And that's why they got so emotional.
I'm pretty sure they shared a Lunchable in freaking their high C in the stormtrooper lunchroom.
While Captain Plasma was watching over them, and then she gets thrown into the trash compactor.
That was so weird. That was so weird.
They were building Captain Phasma up as like this Boba Fett, intimidating villain, and then all we get from her is, maybe her talking about Finn, like, oh, he never messed up. This is out of his character. And then he gets thrown into the trash compactor.
And this is one of those situations like when you go and you buy an awesome set of pants and you're like, these things make me look awesome. I love them. You wear them for the first time. You go out, you bend over, and they rip. You're like, what the fur? All right? Because it is. I mean, it's you're like, wow, this is cool. This is awesome. A strong female character.
You know what it is? It's like the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the famous sword guy. He comes out, the most badass character you have ever seen, doing all these sword tricks, and then Indy just pulls out his gun, shoots him down, and it's like, wow.
Well, that was brilliant, and you know the whole reason they did that, right? You know the whole story behind that, and this is going off on a tangent, but everybody who's a cinephile will appreciate this. Believe it or not, Harrison Ford was actually sick.
Yeah.
He had all this thing choreographed with this guy, but he was feeling so terrible.
He just shot
the guy, and they just went with it because it was so funny. It's so out of the blue, and we were like, this is perfect. And it's something that's iconic to this day. It's an iconic scene, and it wasn't even supposed to happen.
And now I'm referring Captain Plasma to
the guy
from Indiana Jones.
And a slight interruption there. It was
another. It happens live. It's all live. Like what was Vince McMahon's quote on Monday Night Raw? It's live. Anything will happen.
Anything will happen, including phone calls from Yelp and all this other stuff. So, guys, kind of wrapping this.
Let's wrap it up with our thoughts on the next. Part.
The last Jedi. Okay, so I went through the trailer. I watched it several times before kind of putting in my thoughts. And the whole thing behind The Last Jedi is what do I think is going to happen? I think we're going to see... we're obviously going to see
I feel like it's going to be... Yeah, Leia is going to meet her demise.
Yes.
Or demise, or maybe something's going to happen. Well, I'm not sure.
I'm thinking this is going to go the Empire route.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That this is going to be the downfall of Rey. Maybe she'll lose her hand.
Well, hey, it's a tradition. It's a tradition.
Someone has
in
to
the
lose their
Skywalker
hand.
family.
It can't be Finn though, because Finn already got his back scratched by Kylo, and he had enough.
You notice how I said Skywalker family, just because of the fact that I know that there's been a lot of
speculation.
That
Rey.
Exactly. So, just to kind of let you know, that, do I think that Rey is a Skywalker? Possible.
Who knows? I mean, they can sidetrack us. I mean,
a lot of people think, one of the biggest is that she's a Kenobi.
Which is weird, because how would that work out?
Well, I mean, Obi-Wan
got busy between 3 and 4.
There's a possibility, there's a lot of anger you got to work out. And, when you're in a sand planet. No,
it's like, I just lost my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
Yeah, let me go take this out on somebody else. So, she is a product of an angry relationship. But, so Rey, right? Looking at Rey, thinking, well, she's obviously got this power from somewhere. Do we think that she's a Solo?
And it's a rapid power. Unlike Luke, who took him a while to learn the ways of the Force, Rey is doing all these things that took Luke what? So Empire.
And here's my theory on that. Remember how I think it was either Empire or Return of the Jedi. It was Yoda that said that he's not the strongest one, So basically, kind of hinting at Leia.
Maybe
being
it was
stronger.
Return. It was Return when he was on his deathbed.
Yeah. So basically, he kind of referred to Leia as a stronger Jedi. Maybe she has stronger powers. Maybe because she's a woman, and mind you, the men have a lot of testosterone and women have a lot of estrogen.
Oh, now we're going to go into anatomy class.
This is not a feminist thing or anything else. I'm just saying that...
No, I wasn't going to that route. I was just saying anatomy class. I just wanted to put a school plug in right there.
There you go. Hey, yeah. There you go. Education.
High school. Education. Okay. Bill Nye.
There you go. Bill Nye. You're just randomly dropping crap now. So, but my thought is that if you have... these strong female Jedis, right, that they're able to harness the power quicker, it's a very good possibility that that's the whole reason why she picked up on the Force so fast. That's why she's more experienced than Kylo. That's why she was sent away, because they were like, holy crap, Kylo's got a temper, and this one is a badass.
We don't want that temper on her, too.
Yeah, because if you would have known that, and looking at Kylo Ren and the way he is and his behavior, he seems like he's extremely competitive. So it seems like he'd be the type of person that would poison your Coke, right? When he saw that you were kicking a lot of ass.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to do better. No,
he's going to wipe out the competition.
Exactly. So... after watching the trailer, being able to see her, do some rock and roll. Bad joke. Okay.
What was that?
The whole vibrating the earth
vibrating the earth, and then all of a sudden you get that Finn thing that he did in the Force Awakens teaser. She's like, ah!
It's one of those that I think that we're gonna see. Luke pass away in this one. I think
possibility, yeah.
We know that Leia's going to go. I think that she's going to go because the Alliance, the Rebels will lose big time.
Probably, yeah. That one snippet scene that we saw of Poe Dameron, which we didn't even mention in this whole podcast yet, or the live feed, whatever we're calling this. There was a snippet of him running with BB-8, and you see all these, rebel ships being blown up in front of him. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the scene when the base goes out. And then there was another snippet of Captain Plasma finally looking like a badass walking in with all these stormtroopers. I'm feeling maybe that's also in the scene, or they just take over that base completely. And
they just wipe everybody out.
Yeah,
and
it's just annihilation.
And I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see the fall of the Rebel Alliance. We're going to see
But
the
I don't
Empire
feel
get
like
the upper hand.
we're not going to see Luke die in that scene. I feel like he's
No,
going to have...
No. Here's what I'm thinking. Okay, I'm thinking, and guys, you can send the hate mail to Instagram moviegeek_98.
Oh, why? Thank you.
But here's my thoughts. I think that Rey is going to try to help. We're gonna see almost like a Yoda situation. Remember the Yoda situation from Empire Strikes Back? I gotta go help them. I gotta.
She runs off.
She runs off to go help them, right? Kylo is busy looking for her, but finds
Luke instead.
And
then we're gonna have that battle between Kylo and Luke.
And then
my
Kylo
God.
is gonna run down Luke. I think that's what we're gonna see. And I'm almost, if you want my vote for Star Wars presidency on this, that this is gonna happen, that you can kind of lock this in. I think that's the Star Wars episode that I would write. I would write it where, yes, the rebel fall, the whole thing falls. Basically, it's just Monday, and it's a
Monday
shitstorm
for
Monday.
Rey.
It's Monday for Rey, and then she comes back and Luke is dead. So
I would actually agree on that part as well, because I think out of anyone I would want Luke to see fall to, it would be Kylo, because first he took out Han, and now he's going to be like, oh, I'm going to take out another childhood hero of ours, and just rub the salt in the wound, just be like, ha ha.
Yeah, and I think that would be brilliant. That will solidify our hatred for Kylo Ren, and then hopefully...
My problem with that, though, is how, if Kylo will pull a Darth Vader, how is he going to come back with this to be on the good side? I feel like after he kills Luke, there's no coming back for him. He's going to be forever a First Order guy, and then when that big battle comes with, what was his name, Snoke. Kylo will be there full-fledged, and they will kill him right there.
Here's the thing.
I don't see any redemption with Kylo.
I honestly, I don't either. I don't think Kylo deserves it.
I think maybe his lesson will be, hey, you messed up so badly.
Yeah.
Now you're going to pay your debts.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to die a horrific death.
Oh,
and I'm pretty sure...
Drop him down the elevator shaft.
There you go. He's what they're going to shoot out of the torpedo chute to kill the new Death Star. They're going to shoot him right into the center core. So
you just see Kylo just fly.
Yeah, it just
like
boom.
Straight out of a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Exactly. He's gonna go a Wile E. Coyote, but he's not gonna come back. And then Rey's gonna be standing there, sticking out her tongue and freaking running away. But no, seriously though, I think that's what we're gonna see. I think we're gonna go ahead and see Kylo Ren die a horrible death. I think we're gonna see Rey kind of do the whole David Carradine kung fu walking off into the distance, kind of like what Luke Skywalker did.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any redemption there for Kylo. I think what's going to happen is just that.
It's going to be seen, Kylo's dead,
yes.
Snoke is dead. Happy again until they want to make another trilogy.
Yes, exactly. So more Ewoks. We're going to bring in a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to have the celebration, the fireworks.
And one last thing before we do have the celebration. I can't believe we completely missed out on my favorite character of Force Awakens in this whole conversation. I mentioned him once already, Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron, yes.
The guy who I feel like is going to be the Han Solo of the new group.
Well, here's what I think about Poe. I think Poe is he's going to be around. He's going to be a side character.
He's going to be the wisecracker.
Yeah. What do I see him doing? I honestly don't know. I don't know where Poe kind of falls into this whole array, because the thing is, he didn't play a pivotal role in The Force Awakens. I think he was there
for the introduction.
Exactly.
I feel like later on he's gonna have something. Maybe they're gonna build more on him. Maybe he'll be the Lando Calrissian in episode 6. No, I'm not saying betrayal. I'm saying like in that final battle, he's gonna be like driving the Falcon or something.
Well, you see,
Woo!
I'm gonna be 100% in agreement with you, because here's the thing: whatever they build, whatever is up, whatever the Empire has in its dastardly plans.
Another big ball.
Yeah, somebody. That's no moon. Yeah, it's a planet now.
They're gonna hire Vince McMahon. Great balls of fire.
Yeah, this time it's gonna be half a ball.
It's gonna be the half ball.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be a bowl. The death bowl.
The death half bowl. But what's gonna happen is we're gonna need that final showdown between the Jedis. So that's gonna be on its own.
Yeah.
So someone's gonna need to fight the Empire.
The dog fight.
Yeah, the dog fights, which that's where,
Poe is going to be
Poe is going to come in. Finn is going to come in.
Yeah, Finn will probably be involved. I don't see Finn being in that Jedi fight.
No. Finn just got into the Jedi fight because he took the wrong turn at the weirdest place, and then he like I said, when he picked up,
he thought he was worthy to hold the Skywalker lightsaber. Yet he wasn't.
Yeah, we found that out real quick. All right, bye, Felicia. That was just here's the thing. I think he's going to play a character that is going to be a sidekick to Poe, and he's going to find himself, obviously doing something. I don't know what Finn's role is. I honestly don't. So that's something that hopefully we'll be able to see as more trailers come out, maybe get a better idea. But as of right now, that's my plan for, The Last Jedi. I think we're going to see the Empire fall. We're going to see Rey go through something extremely traumatic. We're going to see the death of Luke Skywalker.
The death of Leia.
The death of Leia. Well, that's an obvious.
Yeah.
And then, basically the movie's going to end in chaos, and everybody's going to walk out of the theater loving it and hating it at the same time, because they're going to have to wait about 2 or 3 more years for the next one.
Yeah.
So,
And one last thing before we sign off.
Mm-hmm.
About the spin-off movies.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is that untitled spin-off movie? Because what is it? I know there's 2 more I want to say.
Well, there's a Han Solo.
Yeah, the Han Solo, that's the
prequel.
one I'm thinking of. And then there's the untitled. People are saying it's either a Boba Fett or an Obi-Wan. Which one would you rather see? A Boba Fett backstory or an Obi-Wan backstory?
I don't know if there's much in the line of a Boba Fett backstory. Just
yeah,
because
like
of the fact,
if you watch the Clone Wars, you basically you got a gist of Boba Fett as a bounty hunter getting into the scene.
Yeah, I don't think there's much interest there. I think a lot of people like him because he's a badass. I think a lot of people like him because of his character and the way he is. But I think that we got enough of a story
to hold up Boba Fett.
Yeah, I don't think he could hold a whole movie. I don't think it would be that intriguing.
Yeah, it would be weird to, even though now's the day and age of anti-heroes getting their main films and, bad guys getting their main films, it's kind of weird to see Boba Fett get a main film, because what would be his arc? What would be his story?
And I agree with you there. I think that it doesn't capture the interest as much as a Han Solo story does. Because Han Solo kind of jumped into, we knew he's a gambler, we knew he's all this other stuff.
Yeah, he's going to have his redemption from getting away from that smuggling business.
Exactly. And I'm really curious to see what they do with it. I think that they're really working on it. They're doing some really cool stuff.
And also, if you don't want the Boba Fett, with the Obi-Wan, what would you think about that one?
Well, same thing. I think with the Obi-Wan, we got a lot of good backstory. When we first kind of met him in Episode 1, I don't think I want...
I feel like what they're going to go with, not a backstory, I feel like it's going to be more of that between 3 and 4, what was he doing in Tatooine kind of thing.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Even though I can't see a full-fledged 120-minute movie of just him going around a desert planet, maybe we'll get an intense sex scene of explaining Rey's mother or something like that, but
wow.
I can't.
There you
I
go.
don't know. I don't know what they can do with that.
That would make for great Disney film. But
Disney approved.
There you go. Bring out the coloring books. So, but I honestly think that I'd be more interested in probably seeing. I'd love to see a Darth Maul.
Darth Maul backstory.
I think he was in there too short. I think it would be really interesting to see the build up there.
Or what about maybe like a not old? I know the term is probably not old Jedi, but like the before the droid thing, like that before Jedi when maybe Yoda was young. And, like, the council was just starting up, like, the beginnings of a Jedi.
I mean, I think some people like that.
Like, getting to see that old school, like, you know, what was the first threat these guys faced against? You know, what
or maybe,
was...
like, the buildup of well, I mean, we kind of already saw the buildup of the Empire and everything else. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I can't
believe
picture
it's
it.
called the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, I believe that's what's the actual name of it. But I feel like that would be a more interesting story because that's a part of the Star Wars universe we have not traveled to.
Well, we've traveled
in the
to
canon.
We've traveled to it in book form.
Yeah, non-canon form,
Exactly.
where zombies exist in that universe.
But I like I said, I honestly don't know. What are your thoughts, guys, out there? Let us know what you think would be an awesome backstory, what you think would be amazing. Let us know, you know, what makes your May the 4th be with you so important. What touched you about Star Wars?
What was your first introduction to Star Wars?
What was the first Star Wars movie you saw? Which one was your favorite? You know?
That would be an interesting conversation.
Exactly.
How much you want to bet none will be anything from the prequels?
You know.
Let's have a bet on that.
Let's have a brave soul.
Who actually like a prequel movie?
Like, come on, brave souls.
Come on, if you even want to do Phantom Menace, go ahead. We won't attack you in the next podcast.
Exactly. But, you know, tell us what makes Star Wars so special to you. I'd love to hear it. And, you know, I think that's super important. So, guys, reach out to us. I am Deadpool Speaks.
I am Movie Geek 98.
And remember, as always, you can catch us here on Facebook.com/Movie Freaks and Geeks. Also, remember our website, which is www.moviefreaksandgeeks.com. You know, anywhere that you go, except for Twitter. Twitter is just Freaks and Geeks. So if you want to follow us there, we'd love to hear your feedback. We have the Patreon site coming soon, which the Patreon site will give you access to our audio podcast plus freebies that we have.
Exclusive content where we're going to be having, like, we're in talks of maybe having special podcasts with celebrities or maybe YouTubers, you know, venturing out there.
Exactly. And actually, believe it or not, there is a tier on Patreon that you can go ahead and have where we'll do once a month, we'll do a special Q&A session, live stream with you guys. Whoever wants to be part of this. Not only do you get a free digital movie, okay?
Right.
You get a free digital movie just for being part of it.
It will be Phantom Menace.
Yes, we're giving you the Phantom Menace. No, we want people to actually do this. All right, so not only do you get a free digital movie, right, and these are mostly current digital movies that you'll get. So just by joining us, you'll be able to go ahead and make sure that you have access to free digital movies. And then not only that, but also content, which, I know that we're going to do a podcast on American Gods, which is a Neil Gaiman amazing graphic novel. And right now, for the month of May, if you sign up for this, and like I said, we're finishing up the Patreon site right now. If you sign up for this, you get a digital copy of American Gods. You know, the
like
actual
a good
comic.
deal.
It's a great deal because you're always going to get really cool content from us.
And we're also going to be introducing wrestling content, like how I have on Movie Geek 98. We're gonna bring everything in: music, movies, wrestling.
Exactly. We're gonna go ahead.
Everything in between.
Everything in between. We're gonna make sure that we have a little something for everybody. And like I said, we have pledges start at $1 and they go all the way up to $10. Okay, so I mean, basically less than a Happy Meal. You can go ahead and get some really cool stuff from us, and that's once a month. All right, everybody can put aside.
I mean, it's even less than the WWE Network. I mean, $9.99, huh? We're $5.
Exactly, and here's the best part. Basically, everything that you contribute in here, we're gonna go ahead and put in to get better things and just, build better podcasts for you guys, for our listeners. But definitely interact with us. We want to interact with you. I am Deadpool Speaks.
I am Movie Geek 98.
And remember, if you see it, if there's a trailer, if there is a really cool movie that they're talking to you about, just watch it.
And remember to always stay gold, Jedis, Empires, Siths, and Jar Jar Binks fans.
Ooh.
There's that one.
All right, guys, we're out.